The One Family Junkanoo Group declared the champions of the 2016 Boxing Day Parade. The final week in 2016 marred by bloodshed, and find out what might prevent you from registering to vote. We've got those stories and others. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. With the theme Disney, Let the Magic Begin, the One Family Junkanoo Group clinched the top spot in the 2016 Boxing Day Parade. The group finished Monday's parade with an overall score of 80.85 points, beating out second-place finishers, the Shell Saxon Superstars, by 0.82 points. Roots finished third with 78.10 points. Category A newcomers Genesis Warhawks took fourth with 76.82 points, and the Valley Boys, winners of the last three major Junkanoo parades, closed out the category with 74.95 points. Chairman of One Family, Christina Fernandez, said Monday's victory was special for the group, as it marked the first win since she was named chairman this past spring. Her ascension to the group's top post is historic, as she became the first woman to ever lead a major Junkanoo group. One Family fielded 2 costumes in the top 10 of the free dancers category, 3 in the top 10 of the off-the-shoulder category, and 3 in the top 10 of the step-down category. Additionally, One Family captured top 2 finishes in all other remaining categories, except music, placing third behind the Genesis Warhawks and the Roots. With the country set to move into an election year in the next few days, Prime Minister Pierre Christie has indicated that a potential election date could hinge on voter registration in the coming weeks, implying that he could make a determination as early as February if we get the right numbers, he said. The next election must be called by May 2017. Mr. Christie, speaking to voter registration numbers on the sidelines of the 2016 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade, admitted to the Tribune that the process has been a struggle for his administration, pushing officials back to the drawing board as they look for ways to encourage voters to support the process. According to Parliamentary Commissioner Sherlyn Hall, a slight increase in registration in late November and later in December placed the registered voter count to just around 75,000, roughly a little over half of what it was at the same point in 2011. Mr. Christie told the Tribune that surprising forecast has led his administration to steer tremendous resources towards voter registration, with the hopes of convincing eligible voters to first register and secondly take part in this vital process. The final week of 2016 was defined by bloodshed, with the country recording 4 new murders. The lifeless body of a man who was beaten and wrapped in a blanket was discovered by police on a service road near Tom the Bird Park in Yellow Elder Gardens on Thursday. He was one of 2 men killed on Thursday, with police reporting on Thursday night that another man had been shot to death in the Jubilee Gardens area. Earlier in the day, Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernandez, officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, told the Tribune that a passerby in the area discovered the first victim and notified the police. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean said authorities suspected foul play. They also believe the man was murdered at another location and later dumped at the service road several hours before he was found. The 2 latest killings pushed the country's murder count to 111 for the year, according to the Tribune's records, and marked the 4th homicide this week. Mr. Fernandez said, quote, "Shortly after 1 p.m., the lifeless body of a male, appearing to be in his early 20s, was found wrapped in a blanket right through the service road off Graham Drive, Yellow Elder Gardens. On examination of the body, it appears that the deceased was beaten. We don't know the motive, but we are following some lines of inquiry to see if we could find out the motive of this latest incident. We are going to await the autopsy report as well to determine the cause of death, but we are appealing to the general public and persons living in this area, if they have any information, to please reach out to us." On Thursday night, police said another man was fatally shot in the area of Calvin Road. The victim's identity is not known. On Tuesday, a man was killed in the area of Millennium Gardens after armed men forced a couple to stop their vehicle in the middle of the road before shooting and killing the driver. Chief Superintendent Fernandez said police believe armed robbery may have been the motive for that killing. He said the incident could have happened to anyone. The victim, identified by police as Kendrick Sims, was driving with his wife when another car pulled ahead, forcing them to stop. Despite being denied the use of Rawson and Parliament Squares for a protest on Majority Rule Day in January, We March Bahamas organizer John Boswick II said on Wednesday the demonstration will go on as planned on the same route as planned, even without the government's permission. In an interview with the Tribune on Wednesday, Mr. Boswick II said there will be no compromise, and the group will not be deterred by this attempt towards fascist coercion and the abuse of our rights and constitutional freedoms. In a post on Facebook, lead organizer Renard Henfield reveals that after several weeks of back and forth, the Cabinet Office on Wednesday rejected the group's application to protest in Rawson and Parliament Squares because the event conflicts with another event already booked for that date. Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Bradley Roberts announced last month that the PLP planned to march to mark the 50th anniversary of majority rule. This latest development is yet another setback for the organization that planned to protest on Monday, January 9th, the original observance date announced for Majority Rule Day. However, early this month it was announced in Parliament that the holiday would be observed on the actual date of his historic event, Tuesday, January 10th. The change in the public holiday calendar has been perceived by many as an attempt by the government to strike a blow to the success of a second event by We March Bahamas. Earlier this month, Mr. Henfield told the Tribune that regardless of the holiday it is, thousands of Bahamians will assemble and won't be ignored. Despite the Constitution making no mention of a dress code in order to register to vote, the Parliamentary Commissioner revealed that women may be turned away for inappropriate attire. Amid reports that some women have been turned away from registration sites because of improper attire, Parliamentary Commissioner Sherlyn Hall on Thursday defended the right of his staff not to process people because of their clothing, telling the Tribune women registering to vote with half their breasts out is not permitted. With voter registration performing sluggishly this year, concerns have been raised that citizens have been repeatedly turned away and reportedly prevented from registering for reasons ranging from registrar workers taking lunch breaks to what officials deem to be inappropriate clothing. On Thursday, a pregnant woman who did not want to be identified told the Tribune she was told by registration officials at the Elizabeth Estates Post Office that she could not be allowed to register to vote on separate occasions because of what she was wearing at the time. On her second attempt, she went into the post office wearing an ankle-length maxi dress, but was still not permitted to begin the process. Returning for a third try, the expectant mother wore a jacket and was still told that she was too bare, so she had to put on a scarf in order to be registered. The Parliamentary Elections Act makes no mention of dress code. Mr. Hall suggested that people may have been turned away and pointed to the public service having a dress code for how people are to present themselves in public. He said, because you have to take photographs, so if someone comes in with half their breasts out and cleavage showing, that is not permitted. He continued, this has been around not just under my administration but under previous administrations, where we ask people to dress in decency and in order. So if my people feel that someone is not properly dressed for the photograph, we ask them to kindly put on the attire that is appropriate. That's not out of order, that is trying to help them. So it's not to be rude, it's to make sure that things are done in decency and in order. End quote. He added that the number of registered voters in the country is now nearing 75,000. This is a little more than half of what the register was at the same point in 2011. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com, like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network, send us a tweet at Tribune242, or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242. And before we go, we'd like to say, have a happy New Year.